I remember reading somewhere where someone was making this ridiculous notion that like R&B is like the epitome of blackness, and that without it hip hop is falling off, or hip hop wouldn't you're not a hip hop fan if you don't appreciate R&B. Fuck out of here. Listen, of course it's true. Without R&B, there would be no hip hop in a certain sense because hip hop obviously does take from old R&B records. It takes a lot from a lot of shit. So you could even make the argument, it is a distant argument, that without rock music there would be no hip hop. I don't necessarily want to go there with it because I don't really think rock is like that major of an influence. But my point is, hip hop takes from everywhere, and it definitely takes from R&B. There's without a doubt. But my point is, hip hop is its own thing and it's its own personality. I find R&B is soft. It's like supposed to be every man music or every woman music to a certain degree, and it's like more tame and sort of people sing, um, writing and a song being personal isn't really something that's important in R&B. Like the singing can make a song personal, but the actual notes and the lyrics is what I'm trying to say can be written for someone else, and that's totally fine in R&B. But it's not like that, of course, at all in hip hop because hip hop is a lot more lyrical, a lot more poetic, things like that. Totally different culture, in my opinion. And the reality is that black people, we pretty much invented music, modern music anyway. There would be no modern music if it wasn't for us. So we have many ways of expressing blackness. So, this idea that like, you have to be into hip hop as a black person to me is kind of like, why? You know, like not being into hip hop doesn't make you less black. Like hip hop is a specific thing. It's another method in which we express our concerns and personalities and things like that, right? I mean, there's so much black music in the world. So I don't buy that for a second. I think hip hop is disco and soul music on steroids. Really, if like to me, those are the two biggest, sort of groups of music. It's like soul, like when I talk soul, I'm talking about like James Brown, Isaac Hayes, that type of shit, the hard shit. That's like hip hop, but on steroids. Like those to me, that to me is really like when you talk about hip hop culture, because the other stuff like R&B is cool, but I mean R&B existed before soul music, right? Before what James Brown was doing. So James Brown to me, and like Parliament Funkadelic, like that sort of funk soul era, like those guys to me are really the inventors of this hip hop shit. So I don't buy that R&B is somehow like the most important thing in hip hop. Nah. Anyway, just some thoughts. How do y'all feel about it? Later.